He was a strategic genius in a world of thugs, an economic student in a business built on street corners. By all accounts, Russell Stringer Bell was the smartest man in the game. He saw the world as a chessboard while everyone else was playing checkers. So how did he end up as a pawn in his own game? What if that intelligence wasn't his greatest asset, but his biggest liability? What if the very thing that made him brilliant also made him blind? This is the story of how Stringer Bell, the Machiavellian intellectual of the Barksdale Empire, was always doomed to fail. Not because he wasn't smart, but because he mistook book smarts for street smarts and intelligence for immunity. He thought he could outthink the game without ever truly understanding the psychology, loyalty and violence that held it all together. Right from the jump, Stringer Bell is a different breed of gangster. He isn't driven by the thrill of the corner or a warlord's reputation. He's driven by the cold, hard logic of a balance sheet. His lifelong friend and partner, Avon Barksdale, is a gangster to his core, obsessed with holding territory and wearing the crown. Stringer, on the other hand, sees the drug trade through the pragmatic lens of a CEO. He's the guy who believes every problem, even murder, is just business. Their difference comes to a head when Avon shuts Stringer down with one of the defining lines of the series. "I ain't no suit-wearing businessman like you, I'm just a gangster, I suppose." In that moment, Avon rejects Stringer's entire worldview. Stringer wants structure, legitimacy, and long-term growth. Avon believes power comes from fear, territory, and being who they are, not pretending to be corporate executives. It's the central tension that eventually tears their empire apart. We see this in his now iconic move of enrolling in a community college economics class. It's there that Detective Jimmy McNulty first spots him, utterly perplexed to see his target diligently taking notes. Later, when McNulty finally enters Stringer's meticulously sterile apartment, he finds a library of business and strategy books, pulls Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations from the shelf and mutters, "Who the fuck was I chasing?" The books confirm the man was a different kind of animal. Stringer attempts to apply textbook theories like price elasticity of demand directly to the West Baltimore drug trade. He scolds his crew for having a product that is too elastic, meaning their low-quality dope gives customers the power to just go somewhere else. An inelastic product, he reasons, one of high quality and reputation, would make customers dependent, giving him the power. To him, the game isn't about territory, it's about market control. This all leads to his most ambitious project, the New Day Co-op. Stringer manages to bring Baltimore's most powerful and violent drug lords into one room and convince them to stop fighting over corners and form a cartel. He chairs meetings using Robert's Rules of Order, calling on the esteemed rep of the Veronica Avenue boys and holding formal votes. And for a minute, it actually seems to work. The violence drops, the cops back off and profits go through the roof. Stringer believes he has civilized the game, turning a chaotic street war into a predictable business. He's running a corporation where murder is just another line item on the expense report. He believes in systems and rules, convinced that if you're smart enough you can bend any world to your will, but it's this very belief that plants the seeds of his own destruction. The problem with running a drug empire like a Fortune 500 company is that the game isn't played in a boardroom, it's played on the streets, a world with a completely different set of rules. And for all his book smarts, Stringer Bell was dangerously illiterate in the language of the street. Avon and his crew operate on the foundational levels, physiological survival and safety, but also a fierce tribal need for belonging and love within the gang. Stringer, however, scorns these lower needs, trying to leapfrog directly to esteem and self-actualization by becoming a legitimate businessman. He fails to see that in their world, you can't build the top of the pyramid without a solid street-level foundation. His corporate approach created a massive disconnect. When he starts a relationship with Donette, the girlfriend of his loyal and now imprisoned subordinate D'Angelo, it's not about love, it's a narcissistic power play. It's about control and demonstrating his superiority, a complete betrayal of the personal bonds Avon holds sacred. Avon, for all his flaws, understood the street's rules perfectly. In one of their most powerful arguments, he dismisses Stringer's theories, telling him, "I'm just a gangster, I suppose, and I want my corners." Avon knew that power in their world didn't come from economic models, it came from reputation, from being willing to go to war just to prove you could. Stringer consistently underestimates this. He sees respect and reputation as inefficiencies. He can't understand why Avon would risk a war with Marlo Stansfield when the co-op was making them rich. To Stringer it's illogical, to Avon it's existential. Stringer thought the game was about product, Avon knew it was about power. And in the world of The Wire, power isn't an abstract concept, it's raw and personal. Stringer's intelligence let him build a system, but blinded him to the fact that the people in it weren't cogs in a machine. They were driven by pride, fear and loyalty, forces you can't calculate on a spreadsheet. In Greek tragedies, the hero has a hamartia, a fatal flaw. For Stringer Bell, that flaw was a ruthless, all-consuming narcissism. His intellectual arrogance was merely a symptom of his core belief that he was special, exempt from the rules and loyalties that governed everyone else. This didn't make him smarter, it just made him reckless. His list of miscalculations is long and catastrophic. He completely underestimates Omar Little, a man who lives by a strict personal code. Stringer, seeing the world in terms of profit and loss, feeds Omar a lie, claiming the feared New York enforcer, Brother Mouzone, was behind the murder of Omar's lover. He sees it as a simple equation: point two problems at each other and let them cancel out. He can't imagine that these two men, from entirely different worlds, would actually talk and uncover his deception. It's a fatal misreading of human nature, and it puts a target on his back from two of the most dangerous men in Baltimore. His arrogance bleeds into the legitimate world he's so desperate to join. He gets played for hundreds of thousands of dollars by the corrupt state senator Clay Davis, who instantly recognizes Stringer as a mark. When Stringer realizes he's been conned, his reaction is pure street. He orders a hit on the senator and acts so reckless that even his most loyal soldier, Slim Charles, refuses. He tried to apply business logic to the streets, and when that failed, he tried to apply street logic to the business world. In the end, he was a master of neither. The final proof of his flawed psychology is his confession to ordering the murder of Avon's nephew, D'Angelo. When Avon accuses him of going soft, Avon delivers the most damning assessment of his friend. "I look at you these days, String. You know what I see? I see a man without a country. Not hard enough for this right here, and maybe, just maybe, not smart enough for them out there." Stringer's wounded pride boils over. To win the argument and prove his gangster bona fides, he admits to killing family. It's a catastrophic emotional mistake from a man who prided himself on logic, and it destroys the very foundation of his power for a fleeting moment of narcissistic validation. It is this act that seals his fate. Stringer had spent years trying to bridge two worlds, and in the end, he belonged to neither. The legitimate businessman he wanted to be saw him as just a drug dealer with a checkbook, and the gangsters he tried to rise above saw him as an untrustworthy leader who didn't respect the code. His web of manipulation, once his greatest strength, became his cage. He betrayed everyone. He snitched on Avon to the police to get him out of the way, and Avon, in an act of both revenge for D'Angelo and a strange kind of business necessity, gave Stringer up to Omar and Brother Mouzone. His death scene is the perfect summary of his life's tragedy. Cornered in one of his own development properties, a symbol of his failed ambition, he tries one last time to use the only tool he ever truly trusted: money. He pleads, tries to negotiate, to make a business deal for his own life. And Omar's reply is the final brutal lesson he never learned. "You still don't get it, do you? This ain't about your money, bro. Your boy gave you up." In that moment, Stringer finally understands. His intricate plans, his economic theories, his carefully built systems, none of it mattered. He wasn't beaten by a smarter strategy or a bigger army. He was beaten by the human heart. He was brought down by loyalty, betrayal and revenge, the very street-level forces his narcissism made him believe he was above. He looked down on the game, and in the end, the game looked down on him. Stringer Bell remains one of television's most compelling tragic figures because his downfall was a product of his own mind. He was a visionary trapped in a gangster's body, a man who could read any book but couldn't read the room. His story is a timeless warning from the world of The Wire. The game is the game. You can try to change it, you can try to rise above it, but you can never escape its fundamental rules. Stringer Bell was a snake who tried to shed his skin, only to discover he was still a snake underneath. And in the world he chose, there's only one way to deal with a snake. What do you think? Was Stringer Bell's failure inevitable, or could he have succeeded if he had made different choices? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of your favorite characters.